Doctor, I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am.
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one who expected. Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Bigger on the inside with Tim and Harrison. I'm done.
Anyway, since we're already recording, I may as well say.
Oh no! No.
I may as well
Is that
say,
live?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bigger on the Inside, the New Who Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. No Harry Murdoch this week. Unfortunately, I've had to be joined by Harrison Tinley instead.
Oh,
Hello,
wow.
Harrison.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good. Obviously, Harrison only makes an appearance when we're talking about Big Finish, because to be quite frank, me and Harry don't really know much about Big Finish, even though we seem to talk about it every week. So we're doing our Big Finish battles again, which for those who don't know is where me and Harrison listen to different Doctor Who audio stories and then we recommend them to each other. Normally one of us has listened to the other one. I think you might have listened to the one I listened to. I haven't listened to yours.
Yeah, I've heard, haven't heard all of it, but I've heard about maybe a teeny bit of it. I don't mean a lot, but yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to be talking about The Innocent, which is a War Doctor story. And what are you going to be talking about, Harrison?
I'm going to be talking about, it's a Colin one, and it's got the Silurians in it, and it's called, it's just called, On the Blood Tide. It's called Blood Tide.
Did you forget that then for a second? Did you forget
Yeah, slightly. I just forgot the name. I was like, hang on, I know it's called Blood Summit, and I was like, it's Blood Tide. Yeah, it's Blood Tide with Colin Baker. Coolly.
So I'll tell you what, I'll go first this time. I think you went first last time. If not, tough.
Yeah.
So I picked The Innocent, which, as just mentioned, is a War Doctor story. It's actually the first War Doctor story we get after his first appearance in Day of the Doctor from 2015. So this story is was released 2 years later on the 14th of December 2015.
Who are you? Never mind who I am. Just step away from those controls.
It's him. It's the Doctor.
Don't say it.
Doctor, I see you have found yourself another stray.
You must think the unthinkable again. You know more than anyone how unstoppable the Daleks are.
And believe me.
Believe you.
You're not a monster.
Don't you seriously believe the Daleks can change?
Well then, brace yourselves.
Alert, alert, Gallifreyan intruders have destroyed Squad 1.
It's all right. You can tell me. Who are you?
No one.
The Daleks and the Talians are the same. They fear and hate everything. They destroy civilization wherever they find it.
Don't dare say that name to me.
I know the Daleks. They'll never give up. The only way to defeat them will be to wipe every single one of them from the face of eternity.
See, I'm a monster now, aren't I?
Dalek Fleet Commander to all Dalek time ships. Prepare for final assault on Gallifrey. Lock all weapons on target.
Where can I find you, Doctor?
At the heart of the battle, where the blood of the innocents flows. And only the monstrous survive.
It's actually, I don't know if you knew this, it's the first Big Finish story to feature a Doctor from 2005 present.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And also, I believe, I don't know if I'm 100% on this, but I believe this is kind of like the earliest when it comes to for John Hurt as well on audio. I believe it's the beginning of his era. I think it is.
Yeah, I know we get the very brief look at him in Night of the Doctor. That doesn't, that's not really the beginning. That's the beginning, but there's no story there. So yeah, this is set as the time was going on. The opening of the story is fantastic. It opens with these two guys who they're doing. I think it's been a while since it's been a few weeks since I listened to it. I believe they were doing battle with the Daleks, or they're in danger, and the ship's about to go down, and John Hurt's War Doctor appears, and they instantly know him as the Doctor. And throughout the story, people keep referring to him as the Doctor. And each time that happens, he becomes more and more frustrated with the fact that he's still tarnished with this name, even though he doesn't go by that name anymore. What name to you does he go by? Because he doesn't call himself the War Doctor. Does he call himself the Warrior? Or just does he not call himself anything?
I mean, I just I believe he kind of we're now at the point in the canon where he's got hundreds of titles, he's the Predator or whatnot, the Warrior, he's Predator, of all things, in particular. But he's got in the Time War, obviously he's earned hundreds of titles from hundreds of planets, from hundreds of people who are involved in this conflict. But obviously he doesn't really earn the title that all of his other actors who play him had, the other incarnations had, because in the words when it comes to Smith, he's the one who broke the promise, so he doesn't really have the name of the Doctor.
Yeah,
he kind of just has this. He's at the heart of this war, and I presume as a result he's got hundreds of other names. I mean, yeah, that's the take I've got on it.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. Doctor Who, the name of the Doctor, shock ending. Yeah. I'm just seeing, because I know it says something. It just says introducing John Hurt as the Doctor.
Doctor, yeah.
I swear at some point I've heard it say introducing John Hurt as the Warrior, or...
Yeah, or the War Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. I mean, I believe when that came out, it was, I believe they had him as the title card just as on its own without any changes, where he was just introduced as, here he is on the Doctor, he's the Doctor. But, yeah.
I'm just going to find the Day of the Doctor closing credits to see what he's listed as in that episode as well.
Yeah, that would tell you for canon.
Because on that Night of the Doctor thing, he's listed as the Doctor, and obviously he doesn't go by that name. Yeah, even in Day of the Doctor, he's listed as the Doctor. So who knows? But I swear I've seen it listed as the Warrior.
I don't know really, because obviously even if he is classed as that, in the canon, he's not really in the order of them anyway. He's just kind of classed as the War Doctor between 8 and 9, isn't he? So
yeah. So anyway, but if I go back to the Unison,
yeah, sure thing.
He stars John Hurt as the War Doctor, and I really struggle with the name. I'm gonna give it a go at pronouncing it. Cardinal, I think is how you pronounce it. Cardinal. Ollistra as a Time Lady, who is quite interested in this. How obviously at the time of the Time War, the Time Lords are the heroes, but in this story they are depicted as the villains just as much as the Daleks, because you're naturally on the side of the Doctor. So even though he's wanting to escape this, they're sort of trying to track the Doctor down and find out what he's doing and why he's gone rogue. And so they almost play, even though they're trying to do good, because we know what's to come and what's been before, we know it comes across as they're sort of the villain. There is Daleks in it, but there isn't much Daleks in it, which is quite a shame, because the episode is actually directed and written by Nicholas Briggs, voice of the Daleks. So I was surprised there wasn't a lot of Daleks in it. I was expecting some good showdowns between the War Doctor and the Daleks, but there wasn't anything like that. Has the War Doctor met?
That happens in future.
Oh, good. Has the War Doctor met?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is the first of a series, isn't it? This isn't just a one-off story like I think yours might be. This is like a part of a series of War Doctor stories. Have you listened to this one?
As was on about earlier, I've heard elements of it, but I haven't heard all of it just because it was online and you don't have to pay for it, so that's handy.
Yeah, to be fair, that's the reason why I did pick this episode. I nearly picked Out of Time with David Tennant and Tom Baker, but I thought I did David Tennant last time, so we'll do the War Doctor this time. And also, I'd already made the thumbnail, so
that's it then.
Yeah. He does get a companion, though, towards the end. Around about halfway through the story, we're introduced to Rejoice, played by Lucy Briggs Owen.
Okay.
Like I say, I don't know where these characters go. I've only listened to this first story, and there's some really good, strong points. There wasn't as many. I know when I did, what was it? Cold Vengeance? What was that? Was that the David Tennant one I did? When I did that one,
it was Cold Vengeance.
when I did that one, I seemed to just keep finding faults with it. I don't know if it's maybe because I've settled into these a bit more now, or maybe just that one wasn't as good as it should have been. But with this one, there was only a couple of faults in it. There's a line where the War Doctor is trying to convince Rejoice that he's a villain, that he's a bad guy. And she's going, no, you're the Doctor, you're this, you're that, you're good. And he does, but through audio, you can't tell what he's doing to prove that he's a nutter. I think he just starts punching himself at one point, and he's like,
"Really?"
I think he's like, "I'm evil now, aren't I?" Or "I'm not a hero now." But I can't remember what he does. I know at one point Rejoice, because they're on a boat on a lake, and at one point she falls out the boat, and he goes to save her to pull her back in the boat, but she just swims ashore and leaves him on this boat to like reflect about everything that he's done and who he is.
All right then.
But that said, one thing that did slightly sort of stick in my mind from this is my understanding of the War Doctor before listening to this is that he is just not nice, but he doesn't maybe think, he's only thinking of himself as the War Doctor. He's not thinking of others, but because that's kind of the impression you get from Day of the Doctor. With this all being set before Day of the Doctor, it makes me think what leads him back to that, because at the end of this he comes out of it quite well and almost back to full Doctor. So it makes me think what else happens in the rest of this series to really push him back over the edge.
No, it's quite interesting because of other audios I've heard, I have heard other audios that has him in it and kind of halfway into his era or even towards the end of his era, right before the episode that came out to us in the anniversary. And he's able to get his hands really in the Time War. His hands are pretty tight in it, up to a point where like every audio you constantly hear him heading at it with the Daleks. It's just, it's not even at the point where you're like, oh wow, like I'm really hoping for that to happen. It just happens on a normal thing. So it's the Time War. But,
what?
And it's also like how you talked about earlier, Tim. If I'm allowed to add in, I hate to interrupt, but how you're talking about earlier, how it was kind of like easier for you to get into this audio, and I think that's because as well, like we haven't really had the chance to have her in our heads as this incarnation of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to David Tennant, you've got a clear image of who he is.
Yeah, you're probably right there. Yeah, you already go into that one with sort of already ideas of what this story should be.
Yeah.
But because we only have that hour long episode, and that's it. So they can really sort of build and almost create a whole new character.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know I've only seen a handful of Tom Baker episodes, but when I listened to the Out of Time, the first Out of Time, I know there's 2 more to come, but I only listened to the first one was the only one that's out, so of course it's the only one I listened to. But it was easier. I felt that the 10th Doctor in that was more well written, and the 4th Doctor as well was very well written. And so was this. So maybe it was just a case of maybe that episode just didn't work as well for me. Maybe, like you said, I already went in it with pre-assumed ideas. But The Innocent, I definitely recommend it. There's nothing really I dislike about it. His entrance at the beginning is so great. Like Cold Vengeance, I listened to it in the car while I was driving. And I found that I didn't have to adjust the sound as much as I did last time. The sound levels are pretty easy.
Nice.
And especially coming through 2 speakers in a car, it sounds awesome. So when he makes his entrance, it's just so great. And obviously with John Hurt obviously not being here anymore, it's sort of more exciting to listen to these stories of Doctors that I haven't heard before.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
It's almost like if they went, go on.
I was just going to ask, like, how was the titles for it? You know, because I'm aware he's got his own opening titles.
Yeah, that's a good point. That they're all right. They're not brilliant.
Yeah,
I would maybe change them if it was me, because there was a part where I was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get a new theme," and then maybe about halfway through, I thought, oh, "What's going on? This is a bit." It just didn't sound right. It was clearly the Doctor Who theme tune, but if it was on TV, you'd go, "Freaking hell, I've got to change that." But I think maybe because it's on audio, people are a bit less. People sort of let things slide a bit.
No, true.
So what have you listened to a few War Doctor? Sorry, I just had a mouthful of water. You haven't listened to any of his solo stuff, have you? But has he appeared in stuff that you've listened to?
Yeah, I've heard the odd audio with him in it. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the name, but I know it's got the time controller in it, who's a Dalek, and he's really cool. But yeah, like it's interesting because like how you talk about how like obviously for you this is your kind of opening to you as his hero as a Doctor in audio, so it's quite interesting. And you talk about how he has like a companion, and he has this companion. Like I'm not going to get into anything because it will kind of like unveil the plot to you, but all I'll tell you is he has like, in terms of like who he has on his in him with the Time War, helping him out, he has quite a majority of all companions from like all eras, I guess. It's quite interesting.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Which is, he has quite a huge variety when it comes to like all companions, because obviously he's in this, like he's in a war, so it's going to involve planets, etc. And then like I'm not, as I said earlier, I'm not going to go into it a huge amount, but he's able to team up with quite a lot of like, who's on the bad side, who's on the good side, who is the bad and good side.
Yeah.
It's a lot of variety in that.
Oh, cool. So yeah, I would really recommend listening to this. When I got it, it was free. I don't think it's available for free download anymore.
No.
So you might have to spend the $2.99 or whatever it is. Big Finish charge you to listen to these stories. Definitely go and listen to it. It's a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it. Really good performances from all the cast. No one felt like their writing had been put aside for somebody else's. Everybody's writing was on par with everybody else's. The performances were great. So yeah, it was really good fun. So that's enough from me. Do you want to talk about your story, Blood Tide, if you can remember the name?
Yeah,
he struggles to remember the name, so God knows how this is going to go.
Yeah, that was a great intro. Like, is it Blood Tide?
Doctor Who, Blood Tide.
There's something in here. Some sort of lizard, I think.
Please, I saw them.
The Bible tells us that this world of ours is a mere 6,000 years old.
By the lake, El Jugo.
That the Lord created in 6 days. That there was but one flood.
Devils! With 3 eyes I saw them.
It's about the size and proportions of a man. 2 arms, 2 legs.
They're here!
So to my mind, these fossils should not exist.
And now they have come back.
Yes. Yes, they have come back.
But if I go into Blood Tide,
yeah, please do.
Wow. I got into Blood Tide, and as a result, I hadn't opted to hear it like all before, and I opted to hear it for this review. And I'm not gonna lie, it is one of the highest audios I've heard. I think it's one of the greatest audios I've heard.
Oh really? Because you were.
It's brilliant. It's utterly brilliant.
Because I was with you when we decided what we were going to listen to.
Yeah.
Did you already know this story? Because you hadn't listened to it before this.
Yeah. Well, if I'm honest, all I was aware because of the cover, and I'd already owned it for quite. I actually owned it for quite as a while, but I just hadn't ever opted to listen to it. That's how I kind of have my audios. Even if
I've got loads, yeah.
Yeah, I've just kind of had them in a pile on the app, on the list. And so at times I just go, I'm up for a Colin tonight, or I'm up for a Tennant tonight. I'll just have that on. And I don't know, it's always on the list, and I always just kind of ignored it. And then as you asked me to come on tonight on the show, I just thought, okay, I'll go Blood Tide. Cool, we'll do that. And here I am, and it's awesome. And heading into it, all I was aware was, you know, when it comes to it, is that like the cover looks really cool. It's got like all the Silurians on it, so I was like, oh, it has the Silurians. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
And it's in the Colin era, so he hasn't had the chance to like, you know, have an episode with all the Silurians yet. And it looked really cool. And like, yeah, as it came out, it's one of the greatest audios I've heard, and it really managed to catch me off guard, because heading into it, I just thought, okay, this is just going to be kind of like, but you know, as we talked about in our other review, you know, how we class it as canon is audio canon. If they class, if they were able to class, you know, all this audio as canon, it changes the entire Doctor Who universe. If they
Oh, really?
As Blood Tide. It's crazy. There's like as a reveal in it towards the end, and it was just a bit like, wait, what? That can't be canon, surely.
Yeah. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll say spoilers from now on for Blood Tide. You can tell me, because I don't mind.
No,
so
that's fine.
spoilers from
No,
now on. If you don't want to hear spoilers, don't listen from now on. So tell
Yeah.
us what happens.
Yeah, okay. So it managed to turn out in the end. One of the evil, because it's kind of like half and half in the Silurians. There's like evil Silurians in this one, and there's like, you know, well, you know, they aren't on the evil team, but they're kind of a bit iffy with what's going on. But it turns out in the end, the evil Silurian, turns out he was able to create us as humans. He created the entire human race. And that's the reveal at the end, when it's a bit like, yeah, exactly. I'm just going by your reaction. It's like, hang on, yeah.
The Silurians created the human race.
Yep, exactly. That's what happens at the end of this. It's like this huge reveal, and it's just a bit like, oh my.
What?
It's really heavily implied towards the beginning. In the beginning, there's like as a court that's happening, and one of the Silurians in this court, he's on trial because he managed to create this animal that is.
Wait, stop. I can't hear you again. Stop talking. Harrison, stop talking. I can't hear you.
It's just like, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, as I heard it, I was like, wait, what? Like, that can't be. Yeah.
Did you hear anything I just said?
Not really, no. The connection kind of cut out.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you.
Sorry, man. I don't know what's going on, bro.
I'll do this on the webcam if I can't hear you. Therefore, you know.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
okay.
That's fine with me.
So to go back, so the Silurians created the human race.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Go on from there.
Yeah, cool with me. Yeah, so it turns out he created apes, which apes evolved into us, but he planned for that to happen, which is crazy because as this comes out as a reveal, I think there's a moment when he like even comes to Colin and he's like, "Blimey, like that was unexpected." I actually think that's one of his lines. I'm there like, couldn't agree with you more. But no, it's like it's awesome though. So I kind of head into the plot of it really. So what you have really at the beginning, you have just the usual kind of, you know, I talked about in our other review, like a typical like as a plot for Doctor episode. You've got this. You got an alien thing that happened in our timeline, in our history.
Yeah.
Add aliens into that. Add the Doctor in. There's your plot. So that's kind of what happens here again when it comes to Blood. So you got so you have them and they turn up on this island, and it turns out it's the island. I don't know if you're caught up in your history, but you know how should I explain this? You know the bloke who created, you know, apes and all that. He came up with like how we managed to
Charles Darwin.
apes.
Yeah.
That's an easy way of saying it. So it must turn out that they're able to land on the island that he's on, and obviously he's hunting for things that will help, you know, when it comes to his timeline and his future, and he's able to write down everything. So he's there on exploration. And turns out under the island is this huge empire of like all the Silurians, and they've got this half of them have got this evil plan, because you know earlier I was talking about how they created humans and they believe humans are, you know, because how they have control of the planet, and the Silurians, as you know in canon of Doctor Who lore, had control of the planet ages ago, so they want control of the planet again. So as a result of creating humans who are in control of the planet, they're hoping to kill all humans. So it's quite interesting what happens. And yeah, like I really like the pacing of it as well. Because I don't know when it comes to your audio, like I don't know if it was an hour and a half, your one, an hour. How long was yours?
Yeah, it was about an hour. Yeah, yours is 4 parts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, it's about. I think it's an extra hour and a half over your one, so it's quite long. I believe it is. But each part, I was quite hooked. And when it comes to Colin, like I'm aware in the community, he's not the most, he's not the highest of the Doctors in like everyone's opinion. But on audio, he is great. It's awesome. It's awesome to hear the writers actually hand him a chance to be, how should I put this? He's not always angry as the Doctor. Let's just say that. He's not always a bit, all the time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah, if you get what I mean by that. But no, he's great as a Doctor, and he has who he's able to travel in the TARDIS.
Yeah, he travels with Evelyn, played by Maggie Stables. Yeah.
You're not wrong there. That's Evelyn is great as a companion. Yeah, she's an audio only companion, so she has other kind of interactions when it comes to Colin over her era, if you want to call it that, with him on audio. But yeah, they're quite how should I describe them as like a pairing? They're quite kind of like equal to each other. Because when it comes to Colin, he's kind of got he's able to get a bit angry at times as the Doctor. He kind of like he's a bit more arrogant. So like Evelyn at times is like either able to like overpower him or like able to get up to his kind of like anger or his height, which is quite interesting to hear. And they're able to connect with each other a lot throughout the story. And I hadn't heard of I haven't heard of her before going into this audio and having to come out. I want to hear her interact with him a lot more after hearing her. And
oh, that's great. So this is the first time you've heard of Evelyn, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because this episode came out in 2001, July 2001. So
it did, yeah.
It's quite interesting to see if she's still around or if they've slotted her back in at any point. Or
yeah, I'm kind of like, for everything I can tell you from the audience I've heard, I believe she's had the chance only to travel with him, like Colin, and I think she had the chance to travel with A, but only for like as a one-off. Yeah. So I believe that's kind of it for like her as a companion. But I liked hearing her interact with, as I said, interact with Colin.
Yeah, because this was the 22nd Big Finish monthly range, so it's quite new in the sense of Big Finish is still going today. This is 2001, so it's quite an early episode.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and like I wasn't even aware of that actually after just hearing it, but I wasn't even able to tell, to be honest, because I was really hooked on it. And you've got this island with the Silurians underneath planning. You got the humans that are on the island as it is, and then here comes in this huge fleet, and it turns up behind it like, wow, like hiya Charles, here he is, and like he's coming onto the island. And yeah, so that's what happens to Colin. He's like, he literally just goes up to him and like, hi Charles Darren, like, how you doing, mate? And it's just a bit like okay, like he clearly knows him, which is quite interesting. But it's really cool to kind of like hear the conflicts happen or between the people on the island. You've got the Silurians, and then you've got this whole under Charles that are coming in. So you kind of got this inner conflict happening between all these sides. And they're caught up in it, and it's really cool to hear how it escalates and unfolds.
Because the episode is also written by Jonathan Morris, who this will be coming on the podcast in around December time. I believe that it will be after this, so just let me check.
Okay.
I know we announced it this morning on our socials, so you can follow that. At Bigger on the Inside. At Bigger on the Pod, I believe we are on Twitter. So go over there and you'll see all the people we've got coming out later on this month for interviews. But yeah, when should this episode be coming out?
I can't believe he's on the show. Like, that's crazy enough as it is.
Yeah, because I spoke to him on Twitter and he's agreed to come on. But that was before I knew that he'd actually wrote the episode we were going to be talking about today. Yeah. So it's a good job you liked it.
No, I mean, yeah, and it's not as if I'm only saying, "Oh my god, this was like awesome," just because he's coming on the show. No, I really mean it. Like, this was. I mean, it's not the highest audio I've heard, but it's up there, like in my top. It was really incredible, and to hear it as well, like to hear kind of like to give the chance, obviously, for Colin to have an encounter with like a classic Who, or even like a classic Who, incarnation of the Silurians is quite interesting.
Does he get many classic monsters in his TV run, or is a lot of it new characters?
On the telly, he definitely has an encounter with the usuals. So like, here's the Daleks, and as well like Hyper, Ben as well. And that's really kind of it. Really, everything else is kind of like all new. I'm just going off the top of my head there.
Yeah.
But on audio, he gets quite a majority of others, which is really cool. He gets like all the classic range when they call it.
Cool. Yeah, so I think all in all, we've picked 2 really good episodes.
Oh god, yeah, like really kind of high up for each of them.
With 14 years difference as well, so it's a testament to Big Finish that they're still able to produce high quality episodes so far apart from each other.
Oh, you're not wrong. And it's just awesome to hear, like, to hand the chance to, like, each of the actors who didn't, obviously, who had the chance to play on telly, but they didn't really kind of have either how it was handled correctly, or they didn't really have the time. So, obviously, for John Hurt, he only really had that hour and a half in the anniversary. And Colin, he had an era, but how it was handled, I don't agree with personally behind the scenes, but leave that for a whole other discussion.
Because didn't it go away for, like, 18 months or something daft like that? It disappeared off our screen. Like John Nathan, is it whoever was in charge of the BBC at the time, just said, "Oh, we're going to take
Nathan Turner."
Yeah, John Nathan Turner just took it off the air for like 18 months, and then they did like a charity single to bring Doctor Who back with Colin Baker in it.
Oh, Doctor in Distress.
As if you
That's
know
all
that.
I'm gonna say. Yeah, I know that. I know that. But it was just, as I said earlier, it was just awesome to hear it come Colin, because he's great on audio. He's got some like really cool audios that aren't just like only Blood Tide. He's got some pretty really cool ones, like in particular as well. What happens, in Trial of a Time Lord with the Ballard. And now it's just kind of on a cliffhanger. In audios, they really go into that. And it is awesome. That's all I'll say.
Oh, good. So we've both picked 2 really good episodes. Definitely go and recommend people go listen to these. I'm definitely going to have a look into Blood Tide and possibly purchase that and give that a listen as well.
Please do.
Yeah, so...
you can just have it on my account.
Oh, that's true. I could just... Yeah. So I think we'll... do you have anything else to say?
No, I don't really have anything else to add. Just thanks for having me on again for audios. It's always great to come on the show.
It's always good fun to talk about Big Finish as well, because I feel like it's always quite interesting to see. I know when Jonathan comes on, I'll definitely ask him about Silurians creating the human race.
Yeah, ask him about that, because it's quite interesting, because I was really caught off guard. And as I said, like, I mean, our audio is canon or not, there's always the question in the community. So, like, if they counted that as canon, I mean, that's...
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear that from a writer as well, to hear if they get told if it's in canon or not, if they just given a sandbox and they can basically do what they like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's kind of like up for anything now, because audios are kind of like, I mean, audios have their own kind of things, as you said, they can kind of just opt to do whatever they opt to want, really. Obviously, and they're not able to touch the current era, which is obviously completely understandable, as I'm telling. But everything else is kind of, as you said, up to them. So, like, because I heard that, I was really caught off guard.
Yeah, they've got their license up to the 12th Doctor, I believe. I think they've got the rights to use the 12th Doctor, because they announced that February. Yeah, they announced last year that by February this year we would have the 12th Doctor Chronicles, and we've had one starring Osgood and Danny Pink, but they don't star Peter Capaldi.
Oh, I mean,
and
the same then, really.
And I know they've done the same with Matt Smith's 11th Doctor, where Matt Smith doesn't star in them either. So I wonder how long it'll be before we get those appearing.
Fingers crossed, man. I mean, well, like, after what's happened earlier in the year when it comes to, Thingy returning, Eccleston returning. Anyone can come back now.
That's true. That's true. So, well, thank you very much, Harrison, for coming on.
Well, thank you.
And
Always a pleasure.
thank you for listening. Go download those episodes from Big Finish. While you're here, subscribe, like, all that. Leave a 5-star review. It's nice,
Yeah.
yes. And
I
we
mean,
will.
it's helpful.
That's true. I've got the thing here. I'm supposed to read out. Follow us on Twitter.
Plug the merch.
Follow us on Twitter at
Sorry.
Bigger on the Pod. YouTube, Bigger on the Inside Podcast. acastshows.acast.com/Bigger on the Inside. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Email us biggerontheinside@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, but there's no point because we don't use it. So we never use it. Never use the Facebook. We always use the Twitter. Yeah, I know, but we mainly use use our Twitter instead. It's much better. More high quality content on there.
Oh, on then, guys. Head on the Twitter, opt to subscribe, hand us a like. Much appreciated. Every little helps, as they say.
Thanks for listening, guys. Say bye, Harrison.
I'll catch you later, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official
Bigger on the Inside podcast.